This is the dojo. I'm Lily. SHIFTSTONES!
Alrighty, so these are SHIFTSTONES. These funny little doodads that are on my wrists, yeah, they're called SHIFTSTONEs, and they're really useful. They entirely change the way that you play the game of Rumble. So, like, they all have different abilities. They all have different things that they do. Like this one, it makes all of my explosions really powerful. And this one, it just makes me do a bunch more damage. They're really cool and they're really fun, and I can't wait to show you all about them. So, I'm going to be showing you what these do, how you should best use them, what stones work well with each other, and we'll go over some tech with each one. Alright, now this is the Surge Stone. And this is probably one of the most powerful, but also the most dangerous stones that Rumble has to offer. It is a really big double-edged sword. And the reason why is, this stone is very simple. When you do damage, you do one more damage for a bit of time. So, if I hit Noobit with a ball here, and then I'm glowing green. So if I hit Noobit with another ball, I'll be glowing green again. And while I'm glowing green, I can hit Noobit, and I'll do 3 damage rather than 2. So whenever I'm glowing green, I do 1 more damage. But this is really scary for both players, because if I hit Noobit with something like a cube, and then I hit myself, I take big damage from that. I will take the surge damage as well. So, this is really good if you don't plan on hitting yourself, and you're really good at making sure you don't get hit. So, I recommend pairing this with stones such as stubborn or adamant, as they will help to reduce the amount of damage you'll take if you hit yourself, and they'll also help you push more advantage. So, this stone is best used with high pace and high stress playstyles, and it pairs well with stubborn and adamant. Alright, now this is adamant. It is a really useful stone for high pressure and high pace. What this stone does is whenever you deal damage, you'll take less damage for a small amount of time. To demonstrate this, I've got Noobit. Now you see how Noobit is glowing purple? If Noobit gets hit while glowing purple, Noobit takes 1 less damage. A ball normally does 2 damage, but since Noobit had adamant activated, Noobit only took 1 damage. And this is really useful because it means that we're able to push more advantage and able to go into high-paced situations without having to worry about our health bar as much. This stone is very well used with stones like Stubborn and Surge, because these are both really good for helping to push advantage. Stubborn will help reduce damage even further, and Surge will help you deal more damage. So, this stone is best used with Stubborn and Surge, and best used in high-pace situations.
Alright, now this is the Vigor Stone, and what this one does is when you do damage, you slowly heal. So, it's roughly when you deal 6 damage, you will heal 2 health. To demonstrate this, I've got Noobit here. As you see, Noobit's health from 2 HP in the red to 6 HP in the yellow. This stone is like a budget or Wish.com adamant stone. It's very similar to adamant, but it's a good bit weaker, as it can only activate a set amount of times in a match, because each player only has a set amount of HP. This stone can be really useful if you're pairing with other stones, such as Stubborn, Adamant, or Surge, as it is able to do the same job as Adamant, but to a lower scale. I recommend using it with a high-paced style to get use of it frequently. Once again, stones such as Stubborn, Adamant, and Surge will work well with this stone, and a high-paced style is recommended.
Alright, now this is the Stubborn Stone. It's really useful, as it means whenever we dash or whenever we jump, we take 1 less damage for a moment, and we don't take any knockback at all. It's really useful in a lot of situations. And to demonstrate, I've got Noobit here to help me. You saw? I dashed into the cube, and I didn't take any knockback at all. My dash was not interrupted, and I was able to take 1 less damage from it as well. Normally, a grounded cube like that, it would deal 4 HP, but here, it only dealt 2, because it was no longer moving, and I used Stubborn. So, it also works with explosions too. I take no explosion knockback. As you saw, it was a grounded moving cube, so that means it does 4 damage, and it had explode on it as well. But since I used my Stubborn, I only took 3 damage from it, and I didn't take any knockback whatsoever. This stone is really useful with stones such as Adamant or Surge, as they're able to push pace really well. It's really useful with Volatile, as you're not going to get knocked around by your own Volatile as much, and it's really useful in high-pace situations and playstyles, where you're trying to push into the opponent and push them onto the back foot. Alright, now here we have the Volatile Stone, and this stone is really, well, it's really... I can't think of the word. Oh, right, yeah, right, it's very volatile. So what this stone does, it makes all of our explosions way stronger. Like, the game says that it just makes them 2 times stronger, but I think that's a lie. I think they just made it like 5 million times stronger, and they're absolutely lying to us. Anyway, to demonstrate what this stone does, I'll just do cube, explode, cube, explode. Now I'm gonna run away. And as you saw, Newbit just went flying. Newbit is in space right now. So this stone is really powerful and really useful. I'm not going to be going too in-depth into the tech here today. I'm going to do its own dedicated video, as I feel there is a lot of stuff that I can't do justice to the stone for. So we'll be doing its own video, doing an entire deep dive on volatile tech, and we'll be doing that really soon. So if you're interested in learning more volatile tech, please come back to when that video is out. Alright, so this here is the Charge Stone. And what this one does is it makes it so whenever we hold an object for a second, it is able to be sent even further when we modify it. And this works too if we hold one thing, we summon another thing, and then we send that other thing instead. That first object gets sent flying, because the charge is not held on the object, it is stored inside of the player. And this is really easy to see. If I just hold this ball, I get charge, and then I unhold it. And now I've got something called a charge battery. And if I summon a cube, and then I kick it, you'll see it goes way higher than a normal kick would send it. So, this stone is really useful if you're willing to be patient and learn some of the cool tech Charge uses. So, I'm just going to show you some very basics, and just like Volatile, this stone is going to get its own video, its own deep dive, and its own analysis on what it can do. So, for starters, what you want to do? Just summon a wall. And now, we're going to do something called a slingshot. This is where we stand next to a structure, we hold it, and then we modify it. As you saw, when I held that wall, it went in front of me. This is because held objects want to be in front of the player when they first do the hold, like this. And so we are going to be leveraging that to be able to send our structures really far. So this is called a slingshot, where we're just going to start with summoning a cube, doing a hold, and then a straight immediately. So my hands are going here, 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 here. Easy like that. And that is called a slingshot. You'll see it goes a lot further than a regular cube straight. But it also sends it at an angle. So, now that we know that, we're able to do it with something called a 50 caliber. So, if I summon a wall, and then I summon a ball, I'm going to push this ball up against the wall, and you'll know that you've got it just right when they're touching. And then from here, we are going to dash past the wall, just like that. We're going to dash past the wall, and then we're going to slingshot the wall. Just like that. And that is called a 50 caliber. And I hear, if you scream 50 caliber at the top of your lungs, it will go so much faster and it'll have 10% more accuracy. So make sure you're always hitting that verbal component. And now the next chambering technique we'll do is holding a ball, summoning a cube, upcutting the cube, and then straightening the ball. This is really good to send 2 structures at once, and it makes a lot more pressure on the opponent. It does take a moment to set up, but you're able to do this even with cubes that are just laying on the ground already. So you can dash up next to a cube, summon a ball, upcut the cube, and straight the ball. Easy like that. So, the last one we'll be doing now is cube hold, cube summon, upcut straight the first cube, uppercut the second cube. Again, it looks like this. Just like that. So it's cube, hold, cube, upcut straight, uppercut. Just like that. It's really easy to learn once you're able to get that hold discipline of being able to control where your hold objects go more efficiently. So, that'll be all for charge today. Now we'll move on to the final shift stone, and quite possibly the coolest, flow. Alright, so we're going to be learning high dive first. And high dive, we're going to be learning it in 3 simple steps. Step 1, we're going to be catching the cube. Step 2, we're going to be getting a bump on the cube. And step 3, we're finally going to be able to get a mount on the cube. So, to people who don't know what high dive is, that's okay, that's okay. Really simple. You do cube, cube, jump, jump, flick, and then you go to a mount. But for starters, we're just going to be learning that first part, the catch. So we're going to do cube, cube, jump, jump, flick. You don't have to do anything else from there. We're just getting used to catching that cube. So once again, it is cube, cube, jump, jump, flick. Now keep practicing that until you're able to get that catch, and make sure you're getting it consistently. And then we'll move on to part 2. Alright, part 2 of the high dive. Also really simple, also really easy. All you want to do is get a bump off that cube. So the way that flick and flight works, so long as we're going in the same direction as the object that we're flying on, it will never break on us. But sometimes we won't be fast enough to the catch, so when the cube is coming up to catch us, we are falling down onto the cube, and we aren't going in the same direction. So, once you get that catch, once you flick the cube, you need to pull it into you really hard. I recommend going from this flick to this called handlebars, like you're riding a motorcycle, and then pull up into you. We aren't trying to get full control here. All we're trying to do is get a bump. So, I'll go into the 3rd-person camera and I'll show you that. Alright, now this is step 2 of the high dive, and that is getting the bump. So, what we're going to do, cube, cube, jump, jump, flick, hands to handlebars, bump. Just like that. All we're doing. Cube, cube, jump, jump, flick. And you might miss it, that's okay. Just make sure you keep practicing that step 1. Now step 2, cube, cube, jump, jump, flick, bump. And that's it. That's all you have to do at this stage. Alright, finally. Step 3. Getting a mount. So, what we're going to do, same thing as last time. We're going to be doing the cube, cube, jump, jump, flick, going to the mount, going to the bump, but instead, we're not going to pull as hard. We want to get it just hard enough that the cube isn't going to break on us, but we still want control. Another good key thing to remember is, when we go to handlebars, we aren't going to be flying on the top face of the cube. If I summon a cube here, when I go to do the flick, I'm not flying on this face here. I'm going to fly on this one here on the side. So if I demonstrate, I do flick, and that top face rotates when I do the handlebars. So you'll see, normally it's here. Normally it is here. And then I do the handlebars, and I go to that face that was on the side. So, that is a key thing to remember. We aren't flying on this face, we're flying on this one. So now, let me demonstrate that for you. Alright, so this is step 3 of the high dive. So we're going to be doing the full mount now. So we're going to be doing cube, cube, jump, jump, flick, hands to handlebars, and we're just pulling it into us gently. Now, this might take a bit for you to get control. This might take a bit of practice. But one thing to remember, once you get on the cube, your hands don't need to stay in handlebars. You can just do whatever you would like to keep control and go where you would like. So I move my hands around a lot. I don't keep them in handlebars very often. And when I do, it's mainly just because that's where I'm going. So if I do that again, oh my gosh, missing my jumps. Oh my gosh, I'm missing all my jumps. It's okay if you mess it up like this. This is what learning is for, and that's why we're practicing it here in the dojo. But yeah, once you get this flight, you can move your hands anywhere you want. You can do anything you want, so you keep that flight. Getting control will take a bit to learn, but you will get it eventually. And now, we are going to move on to wall flight. Okay, and as I said, we're going to be moving on to wall flight now, which in my opinion is even easier of a setup. All we're going to be doing, really simple. We're going to summon a wall, we're going to parry or kick this wall. The main thing that we need to worry about is making sure it's ungrounded. We're going to dash past, we're going to flick, and then we're going to jump, jump. Really easy. So we do dash, flick, jump, jump. Alright, and I will now demonstrate that for you. So, we're going to be doing wall, parry, dash, flick, jump, jump. And now, you see that my hands went to handlebars here? That is so I am riding on the flat part of the wall. But I don't keep my hands in handlebars for long. I go to all sorts of different hand positions to be able to get the flight to go where I would like it to. Nice and easy like that. Another thing we should be focusing on, when we're going for the flick, we want to make sure we're on the last third of this wall here. So I will dash when I'm at the last third, I will flick and then jump, jump. Hands to handlebars, and I'm already going off. This is a really easy mount. Alright, that is going to be all for today's lesson. I've covered all the shift stones, but I can't help but think I may have forgotten one. Oh well, if I forgot it must not be important, right? Alright, well, I would like to say a big thank you to Nubit for helping me out with this video, and thank you for coming here and learning all about the shift stones in Rumble. Now, go have fun, go mess around with all the shift stones, and I'll catch you in the next lesson. I'm going to be doing stuff with charge, with flow, with volatile, and I'm going to be doing a bunch more stuff relevant to pace gameplay, which will help other stones such as stubborn, adamant, surge, and I'm going to be doing a bunch more gameplay analysis to help all of the stones. So, I will catch you then. Thank you.